Hello and welcome to another video. This video is regarding internet and what you've got, what you don't have, how to move data around the home. The videos are aimed squarely at people that are the average user, don't know much about what they've got, don't know much about how to move data around the home properly. It's not aimed at network professionals, and it's really aimed more towards the UK market because that's where I live. I'm not experienced with what other countries have got and how they do things. Presumably it's not very much different, however this is aimed for the UK market at the average person, perhaps average family. So let's get into it. Okay, so firstly, what kind of socket do you have at the home? Do you have a copper line with a socket like this? Or do you have perhaps a fibre line with a terminating unit, something like this? If you have a copper line with a standard phone socket, your internet box will look something like this. Maybe not this brand, but a very similar unit. And your internet wire will be plugged in just here. This particular one says broadband, however, other ones can say DSL, internet, all the same. It's usually the one that's got, it's a square, but it's a smaller square than these ones, okay? If you're using fibre, and you've got a fibre to the home, you probably know you've got a fibre to the home, and you will have an Ethernet cable, probably it will look much like this, but with the ends here will be red, and that will be plugged into here. With this yellow port has got the red tag, it will be plugged into this on your hub. Okay, so if you've got a cable like this that is red ends instead of yellow, that will go from a unit on the wall to this here. And that's how to tell the difference. So if you're using a cable to the grey plug here, you're on a copper line, and if you're using another box that stands in between this one and your outside world, you'll have a red ended cable that comes to here to this WAN port. WAN stands for Wide Area Network. The yellow are local area network LAN ports, but this one serves dual purpose. The other three do not. Okay, next I want to talk about the hierarchy of moving data around the home. Top on the list is using a cable like this one. This is an Ethernet cable or a Cat5 cable, Cat6 cable. Different people have different names to them. The number denotes the quality. The higher the number, the higher the quality of the cable. Cat5e, which is the vast majority of cables like this one, are more than adequate for 99% of homes. This cable would plug into this hub, something like that. Okay, then the other end of it, this end, would go to your device. So that would be a television, game console, Sky television box, something such like. If you have a box like this and it lives somewhere close to your devices, somewhere close to a television or somewhere close to a Sky TV box or something else, if you have the opportunity to use a cable, you should always use the cable. That is top tier, okay? Cable is number one. Always use a cable where possible. If you've got your box like this close to your television and your other equipment in the house, and you are not using a cable, you're killing yourself. You should always go for the cable where you can. Okay. Next on that list would be a Powerline adapter. They come in many forms. Some have wireless, some have pass-through for the electrical outlet, but the minimum thing that they do is they emulate a cable like this. So how it would work is, this cable would be into this box like so. The other end of this cable would go into the Powerline adapter. The Powerline adapter would be plugged directly into the socket outlet on the wall, and then it would have a friend that's somewhere else in the house, let's say for instance in a bedroom, and then the cable would plug into that Powerline adapter in the bedroom that's in the wall outlet, and the other end would go to the device, Xbox, PlayStation, television, whatever that may be. Last on the list would be wireless, Wi-Fi. You should always try and use a cable where possible. If you can't get a cable, try a Powerline adapter. if you don't have the Powerline adapter, or you can't afford Powerline adapter, then wireless should be bottom of the list. It's always the last resort. A device like this, fair enough, it's always going to be wireless. But what you've got to bear in mind is that the wireless chipset inside of something like this is fabulous, whereas the wireless chipset inside something like a television, not so much. A device like this is a wireless device designed to be wireless from the minute it was designed, whereas a television is a static object. It has an Ethernet jack for a cable like this. It also has Wi-Fi, but it's more of an afterthought. It's like a tick on a spec sheet rather than something that it's actually good at. You should always try and cable a static device where possible. Okay, so wirelessly, a box like this, it's got 4 antennas. It's got 2 antennas for 2.4 GHz and it's got 2 antennas for 5 GHz. So 2.4 GHz is 2x2 MIMO and 5 GHz is 2x2 MIMO also. I'm not sure exactly how to explain, but if you look at the devices in your home, the phones, the tablets, anything else that you've got on the wireless, Alexas, Google Homes, whatever else, HomePod, think of it like a classroom full of children. Okay, each device is a child. The wireless coming out of this is going round like this constantly, like past the parcel. Okay, so 24 hours a day, your hub is going, do you want mate, 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 to every device you've got, 24 hours a day, round and round and round. When you've got MIMO 2x2, each channel, so 5 GHz, has got 2 parcels going round. And 2.4 GHz has also got 2 parcels going around. So, if you've got, say, a 2-bedroom home and there's 3 or else 4 people living in a house, this is probably just fine. If you live in a larger home, it's probably not enough. Okay, depending on how many people there are, how many wireless devices there are, you can really struggle with a device like this. However, flats, studio apartments, small offices, relatively small homes, absolutely fine. You know, the ISP provide a router. It is an all-in-one piece, but they are actually rather good for what you get, especially when you consider that they come to you for free. If you've got a larger home, you may be using something like this, which is a booster. Okay, on the back it has the yellow plug to take one of these cables. Where possible, you should try and have it wired to the hub. Okay, I appreciate that the whole point of one of these discs is that it probably isn't possible, but where possible they should be wired together. The idea being that if this disc is upstairs somewhere and it's on the end of a wire, it can get the full speed that this is getting from the wall, from the outside world. If this is in a place where it's only receiving 2 meg on the Wi-Fi, it can only give the 2 meg that it receives. So you could have an infinite amount of speed here, but depending on the signal between the hub and the disc, when they're set wirelessly, if this is in a position where it's not getting all the speed that the hub is getting, then it's never going to be able to pass that along. It can only give what it receives. Okay? So where possible, if you need a booster of some sort, go for the cable between the two, where possible. If your house is wired for it, or if you can run one. Where that's not possible, I would say the best scenario is to go for a Powerline kit. A Powerline kit takes the signal from the hub using a cable, puts it into the electrical circuit of the house. It then has a mate, a twin if you like, that then sucks that internet back out of the electrical circuit of the house and changes it back into a cable. And if you get the right kit, it will also spit out Wi-Fi itself. So essentially, it does the same as this and this to a degree, but without actually having either of these things, and it literally just plugs in the wall. So let's take that scenario of the bedroom again and your child. You've got your hub in the front room, port 1's got your TV, port 2's got your television box, port 3 has this cable going to a Powerline kit which is plugged into the wall. In your bedroom, upstairs, you've got another power line kit plugged into the wall, 2 of these cables, one for the television, one for the game console. The power line kit is also spitting out Wi-Fi in that room. Perfect scenario. It gives you this, it also gives you 2 of these, and it does it without any fuss or anything else. If you can plug in an air freshener to the wall, you can plug in a power line kit. They are that simple to use. Okay, finally, wireless. Again, like I said before, using Wi-Fi, it is basically what you do if you can't do anything else, or if the device doesn't support anything else. Or an iPad, perhaps a laptop of some description, don't come with ports anymore, a phone. But where possible, those should be the only types of devices that are actually on wireless. Your Alexas, your Google Homes, those kind of things generally are wireless also. But again, you want to be trying to get as many things wired as you possibly can, whether that's actually with a wire or through a power line kit. One way or another, try and wire it. Okay, so we touched on the wireless coming out of something like this. Essentially, you've got 2 radios for 2.4 GHz, 2 radios for 5 GHz. Both of them have the same name and password by default. Okay, so what you have is one name and password when you look on your device, such as your phone. Okay, it shows up as 1, and basically the hub decides what you connect to. You can go into the settings of the hub and you can separate the bands, so that when you search for the Wi-Fi with your phone, you would then see 2. You'd see a 5 GHz and a 2.4 GHz, both with the same name and password, but they would actually show up separately, and you can then choose what devices are on what band. So if you're struggling because you've got a lot of wireless devices, separating the band and actually putting some on one band and some on the other can really help, because there's only 2 radios and it's only serving 2 at once. If you've got 30 devices in your home, this is really going to struggle. So separating those bands can essentially really help a lot with what you've got going on. Again, if you can cable some of those devices, everything you put onto a cable takes it off the Wi-Fi, so that chain of Wi-Fi, the amount of children in that classroom, gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So again, where possible, try go for the wire, but with Wi-Fi you can actually separate the bands and essentially choose what devices go where and do that yourself. Okay, the differences between 2.4 and 5 GHz. 5 GHz has a faster headline speed, but it doesn't travel as far, whereas 2.4 GHz has a slower headline speed, but it has a better range. So you can think of it like a seesaw. Okay, so you can have fast and not much range, or you can have slow and not so much and lots of range. When I say slow, wireless N, which is 2.4, it can do roughly 300 megabits a second. To be honest, that's probably more than enough for most devices anyway. I think you top out somewhere around 1200 megabits a second on 5 GHz, but for that to be the case, you'd probably have to have a really fancy phone, and it'd have to be very, very close to the hub, and you'd have to have a connection speed that supports that kind of speed to start with. Otherwise, again, it's probably something headline speed that you're never going to get. Finally, I want to speak about power line kits. There's many types out there. The most basic type just emulates a point-to-point cable, okay, and then you plug a cable into each end, one to the hub, one to the device. However, there are these other ones that spit out the Wi-Fi. They cost a little bit more, but that extra feature basically gives you one of these, even if you're not with a company that can provide you with these. There's only a couple of companies in the UK that actually provide some sort of disc, and to be honest, I think that they charge you for the privilege, and you'd probably be better off buying your own. That way, if you run out of contract with one company and you move to another company, your power line kit stays the same because it belongs to you. It's part of your device in your home, and it's part of the home wiring essentially once you've got it in and it's running. The ones with Wi-Fi, I would say, are the better kinds. There's also another level above where they have a pass-through for the plug socket itself, so you plug it into the wall and then you can still plug something into the back of it so you don't lose the socket. So if you're struggling for receptacles and you're not going to be able to plug it directly to the wall, get the pass-through type with Wi-Fi and you probably find that everything's fine, you don't lose a socket. Your wiring stays as it is in terms of electrical, but you gain essentially cabled. Best bang for the buck is probably the 2-pack. So you get a sender and 2 receivers. Now the packs come in 1 receiver, 2 receivers, 3 receivers, 4 receivers with a sender. Okay. The best bang for the buck is sender, 2 receivers. I would always recommend that to people, because even if you don't need 2, you've got a spare. So if something gets damaged, or if or if it breaks for some reason, you've got an extra. The other thing is that 3-packs and 4-packs especially are extremely expensive. It's actually cheaper to buy 2 identical 2-packs, because you get 2 senders, but then you get 4 receivers if you bought a 2-pack and you bought 2 of them. So you normally use 1 sender, you can't use more than 1, and the kits have to be identical. So if you buy a particular make and model, then the other kit has to be an identical make and model, but they are expandable in that way. So if you need 3 in your home, say, so you've got this, plus you want 3 other access points because your home is large, then buy a 4-pack, as in 2 senders, 2 senders, 4 receivers. So that's 1 sender, 2 receiver in a pack, but 2 packs. Okay. By doing that, you'd have the spare sender can be used as a receiver, but it doesn't have the Wi-Fi. But you could use it, say, for a CCTV system if it's in an awkward place like a loft or in a cupboard somewhere where it doesn't need Wi-Fi, it just needs that connection. But the best part about it is that if you're using 3, you've got a spare which is sat in a drawer somewhere. It already works with everything else, you know it does. So if something breaks or something damages one or whatever else, you've always got a spare to drop in. So if you've got a house with, say, where you want 3 access points on top of the hub, the Powerline adapter is the way to go. Okay, I'll show you some photographs of what I recommend, and why I recommend it is because of the features and the bang for the buck. But thank you for watching, and have a nice day.